Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a world buzzing with unseen activity. Intelligent beings all around us, potentially billions, sharing our planet right now.
It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it? Really flips your perspective on what's real.
Exactly. And today we're doing a deep dive based on this YouTube transcript from a Sufi meditation center interview. The topic, Jinn.
Yeah, looking at it through a lens you don't often encounter in, mainstream chats.
And this dive comes from a very specific, kind of unique source.
It does. It's a Muslim journalist recounting his, detailed conversations with a Muslim jinn. He told all this to a major sheikh in Egypt.
Right. And we should be clear, you shouldn't take this as like 100% verified fact.
Definitely not. It's more like a fascinating window into a particular belief system, a viewpoint held by many.
And this jinn he spoke to wasn't just, any jinn.
No, the description was a prince amongst the genies. From India, I think.
Yeah, India.
Yeah.
And get this, when he converted to Islam, apparently 10,000 of his guards, jinn guards, converted too.
Wow. 10,000. That suggests, according to the story, significant influence in their world.
So for you listening, this whole thing, it might offer some, let's say, alternative explanations for weird phenomena, stuff science doesn't really cover yet.
Exactly. It challenges our kind of conventional boxes for understanding the world, maybe suggests forces we don't usually consider.
Okay, so let's get into the details. Lifespan. How long do they live?
Well, the source mentions quite a range. Thousands of years is common, some up to 6,000.
6,000?
Yeah, and apparently 7,000 is super rare, the upper limit.
Yeah.
Think about that time scale compared to us.
It's mind-boggling. And it makes you wonder how they see time, right? History must look totally different.
Absolutely. Events we see as ancient history could be, relatively recent for them.
And then there's Iblis, Satan.
Ah, yes. The claim is he's been around since Adam was sent to Earth. Still active.
Still active. And he's got this whole setup, a throne on water on an island somewhere.
Mm-hmm. With 5 named children who are also apparently still around, doing their thing.
It's that classic idea of the long-standing adversary. You find it in so many traditions.
It's a very common motif, yes. The persistent tempter figure.
Okay, so back to the jinn being interviewed. How old was he?
He said 180. In jinn years, though.
Right, which he said was like adolescence for humans.
Yeah, basically a teenager in their terms, which is fascinating in itself.
And he was hesitant to say his age at first.
Uh-huh. Because apparently he had seen the interviewer before, but in a different context.
Oh.
Yeah, like possessing one of the interviewer's relatives. This was before the jinn himself converted.
Whoa. Talk about holding a grudge. We're just having a really long memory.
It definitely adds a layer, doesn't it? Hints at these potential past interactions between their world and ours.
And their perception of time. You mentioned baby Jinn.
Yes! This was wild. They nurse for 40 or 50 years.
50 years.
50 years. And they're mostly just asleep, inactive during that whole period.
That's just a completely different developmental clock.
Totally different. Suggests a life cycle that's, pretty alien compared to ours.
He also shared some family history.
Right, like his father dying in a battle.
At 950 years old.
Yeah, and his great-grandfather got struck down trying to reach the angels. He was thousands of years old.
Little glimpses like that, they paint a picture, don't they? A world with its own wars, its own history, ambitions.
It really does. It suggests a whole structured existence, with conflicts, maybe hierarchies, trying to push boundaries.
Okay, so lifespan is vast.
Yeah.
Where do they actually live?
Well, the big claim here is everywhere. Every single spot on Earth.
Every spot. That's hard to imagine the numbers involved.
It is. It implies this constant, pervasive presence, just unseen by us.
The interviewer used that analogy, didn't he? About land versus ocean.
Yeah, that was interesting. Humans mostly on land, less than a third of the planet. Oceans cover over 72%.
So the idea is the oceans could be absolutely teeming with them.
Exactly. Given the sheer volume, the vastness, it's easy to imagine a huge population down there, totally hidden.
And the source claims they are down there. Underwater cities.
Countries, even military-style camps, it said.
Wow. And it mentioned King Solomon, using them for underwater construction.
Mm-hmm. That connects to older stories, doesn't it? Powerful figures commanding unseen forces.
It reminds me of that story in the Quran with Queen Bilqis, Queen of Sheba.
Ah, mistaking the crystal floor for water.
Yeah. Suggests maybe advanced capabilities, illusion making, something like that.
It's a cool parallel. Hints at stuff beyond our normal experience.
And the interviewer's personal feeling. scuba diving.
Right, that sense of not being alone down there, especially in caves.
A lot of people report feelings like that, don't they, in remote places, deep nature.
They do, it resonates. That feeling that maybe there's more going on than we can see or measure.
Oh, the oceans, but also deserts, mountains.
Yep. Deserts, high mountains, empty places, caves. Even holes in the ground, like snakes, apparently.
And Rome.
Yeah, that was a big one. Crowding our homes. The idea that if we could see them, there'd be no empty space left at all.
So, not a separate world, but sort of.
Yeah.
Interwoven with ours, on a different layer.
That's the picture it paints, yeah. Intricately woven in, just on a different plane of perception.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The Muslim Jinn.
They prefer Muslim houses?
Exactly. Seeking out practicing Muslims, wanting to learn from them, even praying behind them during Salah.
Wow, imagine that. Unseen worshippers in your own home.
It suggests they have their own spiritual drive, seeking knowledge, piety, just like humans.
Kind of mirroring our own aspirations in a way.
But then the non-Muslim Jinn.
They supposedly hang out in dirty places, toilets, bathrooms, sewage holes.
Grim. And Christian Jinn mostly in churches, Jewish Jinn with Jewish people, especially in Israel.
It's like their affiliations mirror human religious geography somehow.
Which is strange, isn't it? Is that fundamental, or just because they observe us?
That's a great question. The source doesn't really say, but it's a striking parallel.
Okay, interactions. How do they interact with us? The Kareen concept came up.
Right, the companion Jinn. One assigned to every human, apparently.
That idea of a constant, unseen companion,
Yeah.
it pops up in different cultures.
It does, like a guiding spirit or maybe sometimes a tempter, depending on the tradition.
And these Muslim Jinn families praying behind humans during Salah.
Yeah, the Islamic daily prayers. And they apparently like beautiful Quran recitation.
And offer protection in return. Sounds like a kind of spiritual symbiosis.
Mm-hmm. A shared experience, maybe reciprocal benefits for the devout on both sides.
The interviewer even claimed to have two living in his house.
Said in Morgan, was it? Sons of Zubaydah and Muhammad.
Yeah, described as like servants bringing blessings, hanging out on the roof.
Eating with the family, but the food doesn't decrease. It just increases in, like, blessing.
Right. Praying with them, sleeping on the furniture.
It's a very vivid, almost domestic picture he paints. Anecdotal, of course, but vivid.
And they travel to Mecca and Medina instantly.
Yeah, forget airport security. Just poof.
Highlights abilities way beyond our physics, doesn't it?
Completely. Transcending physical limits as we know them.
So having a Muslim Jinn in your house is seen as a good thing, a blessing.
That's the idea. Because they make dua, prayers, for the people living there.
And the interviewer's story about being woken for Fajr prayer.
Yeah, the dawn prayer, a voice saying, Allah, Allah. He attributed it to them.
Very personal experiences interpreted through this specific belief system.
Exactly. Shows how you can frame personal experience within your understanding of the world.
But there's a warning attached.
Right. Committing sins can scare the good jinn away.
Yeah, and that apparently creates an opening for the bad ones, the shayateen.
Suggests our actions have ripple effects in that unseen realm too. A kind of moral ecology.
So the shayateen, the evil jinn, what attracts them?
Stinking places, basically. And janaza, ritual impurity, or uncleanness.
There was that hadith mentioned too, a saying of the Prophet Muhammad.
About shaitan farting when he hears the adhan, the call to prayer.
Yeah. Pretty disrespectful picture of these entities, isn't it?
It certainly paints them as being repulsed by acts of worship.
And reciting the adhan, or Surah al-Safat from the Quran.
That's used for healing possession. Makes them flee.
Yeah, flee to the toilet and cover their ears, apparently. Surah al-Safat is known for being powerful.
So, like spiritual countermeasures, a way to fight back against negative influence.
Which leads to practical advice, like using the left foot and saying Bismillah in the name of Allah before going into the toilet.
Especially if you're spilling hot water.
Right, because you might accidentally harm a jinn hiding there, and they might retaliate.
So everyday actions get this deeper significance. Navigating a world with unseen beings.
And no singing in the shower.
Haha, yeah, that was mentioned. Opens holes of the soul to shayateen.
Apparently. Also, avoid idols, statues, pictures of living things.
That story about the goose statue attracting devils.
Yeah, and the need to destroy or cover them immediately. Interesting how objects are thought to have that pull.
Like conduits or attractors for these entities, disrupting the spiritual vibe of a place.
Photographs, too, they have a magnetism.
Attracts shayateen, so hide or cover them. And don't leave rooms empty too long without remembering Allah.
Because shayateen prefer empty, unused spaces.
Right. And that hadith about cleaning the bed if you leave and come back because you don't know who or what might have been there.
These all sound like, practical rules for keeping your space spiritually clean within this framework.
They offer a tangible way to interact with and manage this unseen world, yeah.
Now get this. Armies of Iblis, called Al-Mutis.
Composed of aimless youth, apparently. Their job is temptation and distraction.
Specific roles, too, making women seem more beautiful to incite lust.
And stirring up fights.
Makes you wonder about the source of some human impulses, doesn't it? If you view it this way.
It definitely assigns a direct influence from these entities onto human behavior, particularly negative actions.
We even got a physical description of shayateen.
Let's see. Oval eyes, top to bottom, large heads relative to their bodies.
Fish-like mouths, human-like organs inside.
And female jinn pregnancies last 15 months. Most males are bald.
Yeah, lots of specific details. Again, this is all according to that one Muslim jinn source.
Helps create a more concrete picture, even if it's beyond our direct sight.
So let's clarify. Jinn versus shayateen, they're not quite the same.
Right. The story is Iblis married a female jinn who believed in him.
And their offspring are the shayateen, a specific lineage.
Exactly. But then the definition broadens.
Yeah, any non-Muslim jinn, or even a human who doesn't follow Allah's commands, is also considered a shaitan, with Iblis as the leader.
And he has this whole government, 5 key deputies.
With nasty job descriptions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sabar causes despair during hardship.
Makes people reject God's decree, basically. Then Dasim.
Breaks up families, incites divorce, especially targeting righteous wives.
A war facilitates adultery, tempts women to uncover.
Maswat teaches lies, spreads rumors, nasty stuff.
And the last one, Zalambor, or Zelnabor.
Responsible for chaos in markets, deceit, spreading fear worldwide. Quite the team.
It outlines specific ways they're believed to mess with human life, from personal emotions to global issues.
And the takeaway is pretty clear. Constantly seek refuge in Allah from their whispers, their influence.
Absolutely. Stay spiritually aware, seek protection. That's central to this belief system.
But it's not all negative. The interview stressed that jinn have their own world.
A whole parallel society, right? Cities, villages, different faiths.
Even universities and hospitals. It mirrors our world in complexity.
Suggests us this intricate civilization existing right alongside us, just invisible.
And the Muslim jinn apparently can be incredibly sincere.
Yeah.
Deeply devoted to Islam.
Very emotional responses to hearing the Quran, it said.
Shows diversity within their world, Genuine faith exists there too.
Definitely. Not monolithic.
Okay, inevitable question. UFOs. What did the jinn say about them?
The mysterious lights. His explanation was, well, that many sightings are actually special types of jinn or devils.
Just trying to scare people.
Basically. Though he didn't completely rule out other creations or possibilities.
It's an interesting way to fit a modern mystery into that ancient framework.
It is. Offers a different lens on something that still baffles a lot of people.
There was that specific story too, the American guy.
Oh yeah. Encountering short beings, large heads, paralyzing device.
Silent craft like light.
And the jinn's take was, those were jinns, just appearing in a larger disguised form.
Maybe from underwater. Or those under red sound places.
Yeah, fitting these weird encounters into their existing map of the world.
They even have weddings.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Love, hate, agreement, disagreement, and weddings. Costs vary by social class and region, just like us.
And intimate relations are similar, just scale to their size, with deep emotions.
That's what was claimed. Virginity highly valued, too.
Most marry around 170, 180 years old. Waiting until 300 is like a human marrying in their 40s.
Yeah, it gives you a sense of their life stages and social norms.
And pregnancy. 15 months.
15 months. And tougher than human pregnancy, supposedly. Often multiple births.
7 to 9 babies. Sometimes 12. Wow.
And the babies are mostly inactive while nursing for that long period we mentioned earlier.
But after that, they grow up, go to school.
Universities specialize in fields like medicine, architecture, adapted to their world, of course.
A whole system of education and development. It really emphasizes this parallel society idea.
It does. Complex and structured.
Okay, shifting to a darker side again. Adultery. There was that hadith.
About shaitan clinging to the husband's organ during intercourse if Allah's name isn't mentioned.
Yeah, presented as a serious warning. Seek protection with Bismillah.
And the idea that mixing human and shaitan sperm could cause miscarriages.
The grim stuff. And shayateen inhabiting places of sin.
Like prostitutes' bodies influencing addiction. Also mention lesbian relationships and slaughterhouses.
And nightclubs, discos, described as absolute havens for them.
Thousands of shayateen, leading to possessions because of the music, dancing, causing madness, even violence.
Yeah, very strong claims there. And linking homosexual practices to diseases and Ibiz's strategy to stop conversions.
These are definitely strong assertions reflecting the specific moral and religious views in the source material. We're just reporting what it said.
Right. Possession itself was mentioned, but described as quite rare.
About 1% in their context, yeah. And reading the Quran weakens or harms the jinn.
They usually understand it when it's recited for healing, suggests a vulnerability to that spiritual power.
A kind of hierarchy where the Quran has authority over them.
What about talking to the dead? Seances, spirit summoning.
The explanation given was that it's usually the Quran of the dead person communicating.
Companion jinn.
Yeah. Maybe working with another jinn or the seeker's own Quran. They can mimic voices, provide details.
But often to deceive or exploit the living, right? For money.
That was the implication. Presented as a potentially deceptive practice, not genuine contact with the deceased.
One last thing. Transformation. Can they shapeshift?
Yes, but it's apparently incredibly difficult. Like skinning someone was the description.
So not something they just do casually?
No, very dangerous. But black magic practitioners might have closer encounters, maybe see shayateen in their true form sometimes.
Suggests it's possible, but risky and not common.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's try and pull this together, this deep dive, based on this really unique interview. It paints a picture of this unseen realm coexisting right alongside us.
Yeah, a whole world with its own history, societies, lifespans, completely different from ours.
And constant interaction with humanity, sometimes good, sometimes, well, really bad.
We've touched on their incredible lifespans, where they supposedly live literally everywhere, including underwater.
How their societies seem to mirror ours in some ways, with religion, education, family.
And the significant role attributed to the shayateen, these forces of negativity led by Iblis.
It's a lot to take in, a completely different way of looking at the world around us.
Which brings us to the final thought for you, listening. Given this perspective, this intricate, unseen world described in this account, how might you reconsider things?
Like those inexplicable feelings you sometimes get, sudden temptations, maybe even bigger stuff happening in the world.
If a reality like this truly exists alongside ours, what does that suggest about the limits of our current understanding? What forces might be shaping our lives in ways we haven't even begun to imagine?